Hey YouTube, this is Scarecrow Kaiser. Today I will do a deck profile on my Sanctuary Blaster deck. Yeah. So, I'll get started with my grade 3 lineup. We got 4 Sanctuary Guard. Obviously, he's got a cool on-ride effect where you get to call it a grade 1. Grade 1 or less, that's important. Extremely helpful in this deck for setting up your field, as well as his name is obviously very important for when you stride. And other than him, we also got 3 guarantees for just more grade 3s that have Sanctuary in the name. And then we play 1 Alt Mile. The 1 Alt Mile is in here basically to be searchable out of the stride fodder. Sometimes you can drop that early game and search this out. I wouldn't say that playing 1 Alt Mile is the do or don't, but I mean, it's pretty. I like using it. It's been cool to me. There's a lot of options given by having this, so that's why I've been running it. I could see where you wouldn't want to play it maybe, but I like it. Into the grade 2 lineup, we got our 4 Lu and our 4 Blaster Blade for the engine. It's so good. And then our last grade 2 is 4 Twin Sword. This deck is so cool in the sense that you can Twin Sword into Lu into Blaster Blade, and using the Blaster engine gets so many attacks out, and with Sanctuary Guard and Alt Mile and stuff, make everything strong and hittable. This deck's very cool, very aggressive. And then into the grade 1 lineup, starting, I got 1 Headwind Knight. So, yes. So to explain why I'm running just the one of this, since he doesn't work unless you have an Alt Mile Vanguard. When you stride into Alt Mile, it's always nice being able to grab him. It helps set up your field to get it more perfected. Sometimes having grade 1s is, obviously in this deck, getting grade 1s is actually more harder than getting grade 2s, so I just run the one of it, so I can have the option of grabbing a grade 1 if I need be. And then we got 4 of our stride fodder. Then 4 Blaster Friends. Barkle. Some people don't run it at max and stuff. I much prefer running it at max. Being able to draw it and actually just have it to throw down, and it lets you early game be able to set up really good plays easier. So, and then my last spot is 4 Holy Knight Guardians. Perfect guard and unflips. This deck counter blasts a lot, so it's pretty helpful. For the zeros, my starter is Milius. He can go grab any grade 2. Usually he goes and grabs Twin Sword if I need be, but usually I try to keep him out because he's a booster. For the trigger lineup, there's 4 Flogel, part of the Blaster engine, really busted. And then 4 more triggers. This should probably actually be the Alt Mile crit. I just don't have that crit with me. I don't have it, and I don't want to pay what the ridiculous price people are asking for it right now. So, yeah, not really that big of a difference anyway. But if you wanted to make it absolutely perfect, this should probably be an Alt Mile crit. Bringer of Dreams, I think is his name. Then I play 4 Margle for 4 draws. I can see why people would want to argue 12 crits in this deck. It's very aggressive and stuff. However, this deck struggles in terms of keeping a hand and maintaining defense. This deck kind of requires you to throw your hand on the board, and you need also, on top of that, you need your combo pieces. So I found having a little bit of draw power to be more advantageous than another set of crits. That's in my experience. So, and obviously Margle has a very cool effect. And then obviously we've got 4 heals, because G Guardians. Into my G zone, starting with the G Guardians. 2 laser guard and 2 screw are the only G Guardians I'm using. You could actually probably cut 1 screw, I guess, but I've got 4 just for the total. But usually I've never really used screw more than once playing this deck. This deck doesn't really last long enough to G Guardian that often. This deck pushes hard and tries to end the game quickly, or it loses quickly. Doesn't really have a long-term game, so. Next for the G units, we got. I'm only playing 2 Regalia. I think more than 2 would be just kind of silly. I have strode into it more than once in a game, quite often, but I have never, not even once yet, needed to stride into it a 3rd time, let alone a 4th time. I don't know what's going on if you're doing that, so 2 seems like the perfect number to me. Then we got for Altmile. He's a fantastic card. Him and Sanctuary Guard are the 2 most commonly used grade 4s in this deck. He's such a good card. Speaking of that, we have 1 more Transcending Altmile. So since I run 1 Altmile in the main deck, I had this in there as an option. It doesn't get utilized a lot, but I don't really care. For the few times that I actually am on Altmile, having access to this thing is fantastic, because this thing is an amazing card. Powering up your front row and calling grade 2 and giving it +5. He's a very good card. And then next we got 2 Saint Blows. A big attacker with a crit on it is always pretty useful, especially in some matchups like Link Joker, where they've got your front row locked. All you gotta do is have at least the 2 rear guards, and this thing will get a crit. So big attacker with a crit is pretty helpful. Then we got 1 Godblade. I don't use Godblade a lot, but sometimes, depending on the matchup, he makes for a better first stride than Sanctuary Guard. Sometimes you're just not ready to go in your Sanctuary Guard plays, and that's where I kind of like Godblade. And then my last spot is 2 Blizzas. As you guys have seen a lot, I like running Blizza for the Link Joker matchup, which is very hard for this deck, actually. Link Joker is a very tough matchup. So being able to have like cards like Saint Blow and this thing that can, even if all you have is a Vanguard, if you can hit them hard with it, it helps a lot. Alright, so that is it for this deck profile. Any questions about card choices I didn't pick, etc., things like that, feel free to ask them in the comments, and thank you for watching.